Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. It is Sandy, and with Hercules and Heroes, John is not with me right now. But I wanted to pop on here as we are going to start doing this here live 9:30 on Wednesdays, which I love. Excited to be here. Let me know that you're here. Put something in the comments so we can talk directly to each other here. So, what is happening in your world? How are you, and all the things? One of the things I love about women's groups is when you use this format of how when you speak up in a sister circle, you would say, as y'all already know this probably, how am I really doing, and what matters most to me right now? And what does that mean to you? What does that mean? What's happening right now in this moment? Because what we have is right now, and then the next now, and the next now, and the next now, right? I was just telling my assistant, how I woke up this morning refreshed and ready to go, and it was just a fascinating way how we can just really control alt delete. So John's not with me this morning. He has some another appointment that was an overlap, and we are in the middle of doing our health refresher. You would have been laughing at me if you would have seen earlier how I had my head turned upside down, and he was snipping at my hair and doing hair samples, all kinds of things. The things that we're doing over 50 to make sure that we're in optimal health, so we can continue to live out our purpose and our passion. My son walked in and he sees me with my head over, and John's like got scissors at the nape of my neck. He's like, "What in the world are you doing?" So it was really, it was just really funny watching my son watch me with John in this space. Because for many of you that don't know, John and I have been married for a few years. My son is 21 years old, and I had a history of being in relationships, including with my ex-husband, that were toxic and not healthy. And so my work, the Sacred Sheep program that I have and promote and work and love, is my passion, is my healing journey to be able to create this healthy relationship here. So not only will it shift the relationship that my son will have with his children and their children, it just helps us in the here and now. So one of my biggest pleasures is to watch my son, who's an adult, see me in a healthy relationship. Many people ask, like, well, if you are just in this, I mean, you've been married for a few years, and how are you able to serve other women, in their marriages? And I don't know if some of you saw the testimonial that was on my main page, my Facebook page. Please go and take a look at it. One of my clients, Daisy, did a testimonial for my sisterhood program, my Sacred Sheep program, and it starts out, I didn't expect to save my marriage. And that my team does not let me see the testimonials, the raw. They let me see them in very concise spaces, right? Because even though I'm words of affirmation as my primary love language, there's something like I'm modest about it, right? And then I've really worked on what do I do to actually embrace the gift of what we do. So how am I able to do that? Well, at the end of the day, why we're talking about the gift of expression is I actually help women really get more into their feminine core, into who they really are as a woman. And so I know I'm preaching to the choir to many of you that are going to be watching this within Athena's, right? Because that's what Whaley put together for us, this beautiful platform when the world shut down. And so for many of you that have chosen to interact in this beautiful free platform that she's created, that's very interactive, that is a point of expression. And this topic came to me this morning after I woke up to a message from someone who has been wanting to work with me. I've met her years ago, and after a string of situations, she's like, "I'm ready to work with you." And so, long story short, she got really triggered by the last couple of testimonials that my team put out, and because she said, "I am concerned that how did she say it? I'm not judging, but what my concern is that these things should be saved for your lover. These things should be saved for private. And what was fascinating to me, because if you know me, and many of you do, because you've actually worked in my deeper programs, is that there's always an inquiry there. There's always something that we can dig into. And so it's not that I enjoy pushing people past their edge. That is not the key to great coaching or teaching. But it is my responsibility to actually hold up the mirror and also see perhaps what is in her reflection that is just like me. Because that really is warrior goddess work, right? When you can hear something that actually has a little bit of residue to it, and you can go, that's just like me. That one little piece is just like you. So anyway, point of expression. And so it was just beautiful because she really openly expressed that she was not open to expressing herself that way, which doing a testimonial when you're in my program is not required. But what is required, and what I shared with her, is that the art of the feminine, quite frankly, is the art of our expression. And so, many people who dive in, they take the quiz, right? That many of you have taken, the sandyslumber.com/quiz, which will allow you to do a deeper dive into your masculine and your feminine, which we all have. But some people think the feminine is just putting on some dangly earrings, some lipstick, and maybe, walking more into their sexiness. And that is not what the feminine is. The feminine is the energy, is vibrancy, expression, nonlinear movement. Literally, the feminine is energy. Period. End of story. So what I did is I just, we've been going back and forth a little bit, and I just and asking her deeper questions. So I'll leave that right there for now. But what I do want to say is that as I'm talking to all of you here, is that what is the gift of expression? What is the gift of an ouch when your partner, or maybe your if your adult child, for example, hasn't called you in a while, when Cameron was off at school, and or if he is off at school and I haven't heard from him in a while, versus me doing what I used to do, which is to nag and complain and not be kind. I mean, not that I wasn't kind, but I would, I just like, why haven't you called me? I don't understand. What took you a long time to call? Something like that. Instead, I'm just like, ouch, and letting him know that that mom would like to hear from him. Some women may think that's manipulative if you haven't done this work, and as long as your heart's open, then it actually is quite beautiful to be expressed. So, that's why I use movement, and I use moving meditation and nonlinear movement, not just us talking. So it's a fascinating place to be. It's a very beautiful place to live, because for many of us that are out there in the world, whether we are stay-at-home moms to 1 or 5 kids, homeschooling them, or we're out there in the corporate world coming home and then walking into active motherhood, right? There is something about us being in our head and not in our hearts. If we're not in our hearts, we're probably not in our bodies. And if we're not in our bodies, then the way we're expressing ourselves is going to come right from this beautiful noggin that we all have, right? So the question is, as you all are starting to watch this, not on the live stream, but actually later, where are you in your, if you range from 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, how would you rate yourself in expression? And if this is like, what exactly is she talking about? There's only so much teaching I'll do in this short amount of time. But what I will say is that let's have a conversation, because I can guarantee you that the quality of your life is going to be in the way that you are able to express your open heart, in the way that you create what you're creating out there in the world. Definitely, obviously, in your intimate relationships, but I'm going to take you deeper than your intimate relationships. I want to know, like, your passion projects, what really matters most to you, in the world. So I was with Dr. Epstein. For many of you, I know Waylee knows Donnie, Dr. Epstein this weekend. I'm in his mastermind program, and John and I we enjoyed it thoroughly. I met him in 2014 in India, and if you don't know, he's one of Tony Robbins' doctors. Let's put it like that. And so we were talking about the spine. We were talking about how women now, so here's the spine. Here's the tushy. Y'all see the tushy? See the tushy? What's happening now, the more and more that women are out there in the world, in the workspace and such, all the things that we wanted, right? We want equal rights. We want to be able to go out there and slay the dragons, like in the primal days, go, caveman, right? That's what we wanted. And we do. We want equal rights. So please understand, I'm not saying that we don't want that. But what's happened to our bodies is that the more that we are walking in that masculine structure, and we're out there, being so logical, we are out there, being so focused, and we're actually not, and we're being linear, not non-linear, and we're not in a more nurturing environment, minute to minute to minute. Our spines have literally started to flatten here, like a man's. And so, because what our spine is supposed to look like is actually have a little bit of a curve here. Have a curve here, which allows our tushy to go out like this. And whether you have a bubble butt or not depends on probably how many squats you've done, depending on your lineage or what have you. But what I'm talking about is what happens to the lumbar spine, and then what happens up here, in this area of the cervical spine and in the space. So a lot of women who have maybe had some type of trauma, sexual trauma, will actually have a little bit of a hump right here. And because that is from their body going into the space here of wanting to protect itself. And it's really chronic. It's a chronic space. And there are exercises that I can help you with that will help you be more expressive, just even if you never say a word, just in how you're holding your body. So what John and I do is, through some exercises we've learned through various teachers, not just, Dr. Epstein, is, John is working with men who have probably been feminized, whether they were raised by a very strong woman, whether their father was in the picture or not, or, they're people pleasers for whatever reason. That's John's work and his program in Ignited Work, quite beautiful. So just that little bit, we have a practice that we do that just when John, he'll catch himself in posture, just like I will, and that there's something he can do to his spine. And then I can feel the difference. We literally have played with the energy like across the room when he's in another room. If you watched our live that we put in the society yesterday, you see me start getting all where I'm just doing my thing and teaching, and the next thing I know, I get all giddy, like all feminine giddy, and because he did the thing. So it's really interesting. So, this may sound foreign to you. It's okay. Let's just have a conversation about it, because there's things we can do to open this up. But I don't want to open you up without us talking about why are you closed in the first place. So when I had my intervention with Tony in 2014, I really was like a cute little dude. I mean, I had a little, we were a date with Destiny, so I had my bandana on, and I had my bolero on, and I was like, but I was, I was such a guy. I was such a guy. I look back at some recordings of that, and I'm like, who in the heck was I? But you know who I was? I was, I like to call her Celeste. I was Celeste, someone who had been violated time and time and time again in various areas of my life. And I was very protective over what I like to call my little girl. So, because at the end of the day, we are all we all have probably lost touch of the little girl that's inside of us. And so, why is being expressive? Why is being expressed a beautiful space to be, so you can actually show up bigger in the world? It's because we are creation. We are women. We are, the Athenas of the Athena sisterhood, right? This is who we are. And if we are walking around cloaked with all of our crap, then we are not actually allowing ourselves to give the gift of life. And if you can think of it, you think about the masculine and feminine in space of a river. The river bed is the masculine. The flowing, bubbling brook is the feminine. And so it's such a beautiful space to look at this, metaphor, because it allows you to actually see it, right? So I would love to hear more from all of you, like where you find that you're expressive. What are you doing? Do you find that you do it just through journaling? Are you allowing yourself to actually, are you willing to, come here on camera. I know there was something that y'all were doing here, that some of the women decided to, you pick one person and they'll go live for a week, which actually is an art of expression, which allows you to get out of your comfort zone. What I would invite everyone to do is that, and when we do it with my work, is that we actually make it even more artful. And so even if you're doing a business presentation, you can actually even bring more art to it. That's why we call it the art of intimacy. So it's very yogic, and I call it a practice because just as you would practice yoga, you're actually going to be practicing the art of revealing. It is not comfortable, whether you are 22 or 50 years old like I am, or I have two women in my group now who are in their 70s, and they're like, whoa, I mean, it's just so fun to see women actually start walking in the bodies that they are, walking into, the energetic space that they take up. And so I'm excited about that. So again, you know, check in with yourself when you do see a woman that's being expressive. 'Cause let's face it, when we see a man, and you've heard John and I talk about this. You can go back into the portal and you can see where John and I've talked about this in the past. There's a year's worth of teaching, ladies, that in the portal, by the way. Where when you see a man who's kind of like flimsy in his movement, and I don't mean just dancing, but he's kind of hunched over or is fidgety, our primal brains, the female brain, will not trust him because we don't feel safe. And so it's actually God's gift to us, universe's gift to us, creator's gift to us, so we can scan, right? Same thing. If a woman is always like this, refined, still, stoic, regal, and is not allowing herself to be expressed in any form, really, it's very stodgy, and to the masculine, it actually it's a turnoff because they're being met with another masculine, right? So I think y'all have heard me call it the redwood. Are you in a redwood state? Are you in a redwood like this? We were in Brendan Bouchard's mastermind. We have a thing for learning, if you haven't realized by now. And there's many of the women in the mastermind that are in my courses in whatever fashion. And so I could pan the Zoom, and I could see, the women who've worked with me and the ones who haven't, because the ones that haven't worked with me are like this, and they'll smile, but there's no energy. It's all, and so and then as I've gotten to work with some of them in that space, even since that one call I'm referring to, they had limiting beliefs behind if they were expressive, then they would not be thought highly of in their profession, or they had some trauma wounds around being expressive. They were not allowed to be expressive at the home, or they wanted their love from their father, so they became more boy-like, right? And so they would stuff their emotions. Ladies, there's so much there, right? There's so much there. This is so much more than like us just dancing and being vibrant and saying, oh, we're in our feminine. No, you are the feminine and you are your masculine. The key is like, what are you willing to bring to the world? And are you willing to, after you take that quiz, or maybe you already know, what is your core? Because just because we're women does not mean you're leading with your masculine. Trust me. Or I wouldn't have had a 4-hour intervention with Tony in my entire life, and the trajectory of my business changed. Because what I realize is there are a lot of women who actually, call themselves a woman, but they're not enjoying life as a woman. They're not enjoying the vibrancy of a woman. They're not walking in their full expression as a woman and a creator. And then using the masculine qualities that we need, right? There's a go mode, which is the masculine, and then there's a flow mode, which I think you figured out is us, right? So I hope this is helpful, and I love this new format of being able to come on here live. I love being able to interact with all of you. I would love us to be able to put this on your calendar so at 9:30 we're going to be popping up, or put on your calendar to pop in later so you can catch the replay. And then when you post questions here, then I can answer them so everybody can benefit from them. But if you want to take a deeper inquiry, I think that Tracy put a CTA, a call to action, so you can speak to me too. There's so much here. There's so much here in this beautiful art of revealing that is the gift of expression. And I could talk about it for days and days and days. It's really part of the 7 steps to sacred that I talk about, that, we can do all the inner work, but if we're still afraid or have limiting beliefs around, how we express ourselves, then we're actually holding back on our gifts. We're holding back on our gifts. So, any questions before I start wrapping up? Any questions? It's so interesting, John. We have eCam, and I am so technologically not sound, and I'm actually okay with that. But since this year that we've been going live more regularly, there's all these different like options, graphics to your live video. There's all these things, and for me, when I'm teaching, I'm in my masculine space, and I'd bring in my feminine. Otherwise, I'd be the redwood, right? And I'd be a hypocrite. But what I'll say is when I'm in the space here and there's like a screen here, I'm distracted. And so if you could have seen John in here earlier as he was getting me set up here with this new camera, I was talking to him about something that's going to happen tomorrow. And he's like, babe, single focused, masculine, one thing at a time. And I just started giggling, right? Because it's so true. I'm in here like listing off 1,000 things, a dinner party this week, and date night tomorrow, and we need to get the plumber. I mean, and then I went, oh, and by the way, we got a new client, whatever. And he's like, Sandy, single focus. So anyway, I love this space, and I love teaching. If I could do it all day long, I would. And so please take advantage of this free coaching. Oh my goodness. Looking forward to talking to you guys. I have a beautiful, beautiful day. I'll give one more second. Anybody have any questions? Anything they want to pop in and ask? All right. You ladies have a great day. I'm sending you all kinds of love. And I'm just going to ask today if you can just one time, just one time. I hope it's more. Do something that's out of your comfort zone just to show your expression. Maybe it's a cheer. Maybe you actually, if you're frustrated, with your partner, you artfully and playfully, you flip them off, right? Or, maybe you just send like a little birthday video to a friend. For many of you who've known me for a while, I'm the queen of sending nonverbal communication. And let's just play with that. We'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.